What's happening, guys? Sam Adams here, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Jampack Report, live on Mixer.com/Samuel Adams for the first time ever. Of course, for those that are brand new to the program, this is a daily gaming news show where I let you know the hottest gaming news from around the industry, and I pack it up in one tight, neat little podcast for you to enjoy 5 days a week. Now, as I said, live on Mixer.com/Samuel Adams. I will talk about that more in just a moment. But on top of that, the show is then taken down and put up on YouTube.com/Samuel Adams Media as well as podcast services around the world if you did want to listen to the audio version of the show. But before we dive into what we are going to be talking about today, let's talk about what I just said. Mixer.com/Samuel Adams. What's going on, Sam? Why are you streaming on Mixer instead of Twitch? Quite frankly, I see a huge amount of opportunity on the Mixer platform, and I want to bring my content over to a place where it has the highest potential to succeed, and I do believe that is Mixer. Now, of course, some may say Mixer is not Twitch. You are correct in that, and in today's day and age, as we've been covering on the podcast for the past few days, that could very well be a good thing. I'm a big fan of where the platform's going on the technical side. It has improved greatly in just the past 6 months, which is very exciting for me. So I think I'm going to go all in and see where we end up. But I do hope you join me live on Mixer.com/Samuel Adams. Still, the timing does fluctuate because my schedule tends to be a bit whippy, whoppy, flippy, whoppy. Those are actual terms because of my work schedule. But with that being said, that's fine. That's all well and good. The show still goes on and the news still gets in your feed and in your ears. Hopefully, I would assume you are listening to what I'm saying. That would kind of otherwise defeat the purpose of the show. But with that being said, what are we talking about today? You, yes you, PC gamer, won't be able to preload Borderlands 3 because of the Epic Games Store. We will talk more about that and why that is in fact the case for one of the biggest games for 2019. Then, Quantic Dream games won't be exclusive to any platform anymore, according to David Cage. Xbox may allow its new studios to create multi-platform games, so you could be seeing some of the traditionally exclusive Xbox studios pumping out some stuff for the PS4 and, of course, the PC, as to be expected from Microsoft in 2019. Then, an SNES-style controller is on the way to the Nintendo Switch. Could that mean we could be getting SNES games relatively soon, maybe some remasters here and there? We will speculate, and of course, I will fill you in as to what exactly has been filed at the FCC. Then a leak has shown off the next Plants vs. Zombies game, and it is not, in fact, the strategy game you played on the mobile, but more so something in terms of the garden warfare, if you will, the first-person shooter genre, or I should say third-person shooter genre, as it looks in the trailer, which has since been taken down. So if you are looking for that, unfortunately, don't have it. I apologize for that, but still, it is worth checking out here on the episode of the Jampack. You gotta know what's coming out, man. You gotta know. Then, Tim Willits, somebody who has been in the news recently, former id Software studio head, has been moving around, and he is now going to be the CCO of the World War Z publisher, which is very exciting for Sabre Interactive. Then, for fans of Minecraft, the Super Duper Graphics Pack has been canceled, which is very unfortunate because it did look good. And to round out today's show, we now have the ability to reserve your name on World of Warcraft Classic, just in case you were in the market to actually, play WoW Classic when it launches in just a couple of weeks. And that's pretty much the lineup for today's show. Again, if you are joining me live, I appreciate you being here on Mixer.com/Samuel Adams. If you are watching the VOD, click that follow button. And hey, if you're listening to the podcast or on YouTube, click that follow button there as well. Click all of the follow buttons, my dudes. Click all of the follow buttons. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into today's top gaming news. First off, you won't be able to preload Borderlands 3 on the Epic Games Store. Downloads can begin once the game is live. If you are hoping to play Borderlands 3 on PC at midnight when it releases, you might find that you'll have to wait longer depending on your download speeds. Gearbox Software's long-awaited shooter officially went gold last week ahead of its release on September the 13th. On PC, the game is a timed exclusive for the Epic Games Store, meaning that PC players who want the game on Steam will need to wait until April of 2020. which is sort of unfortunate. Epic's Tim Sweeney confirmed to a fan on Twitter that the Epic Games Store would not allow preloading of Borderlands 3 ahead of release. Preloading means that the game is downloaded before it's playable so that you can start the game the instant that it releases. When asked why this was the case, Sweeney clarified that while EGS has support for file preloading, they're not sure that their system is, quote, up to the demands of a blockbuster like Borderlands. This means that those who have pre-ordered the game will still need to wait until the game is live before they can start downloading it. The Epic Games Store, which launched just this year, has landed several major exclusive releases on PC, including titles like Shenmue 3, Metro Exodus, and Ooblets. Yes, they included Ooblets as one of the big-name games that they scooped up. The game is also coming to PS4 and Xbox One on launch day and Google Stadia once that platform launches, and it will still be supporting preload on consoles. And so, because of the restrictions of the Epic Games Store, you will not be able to preload Borderlands 3 whenever it does go live on PC. Which is very unfortunate because of the fact that a lot of people around the world, specifically in the United States as well, are unable to actually download at high speeds. It takes a long time to get a game the size of Borderlands 3 downloaded to their device, and so preloading has pretty much been a way to forego improving the overall internet infrastructure or upgrading your data plan, and instead just go ahead and start downloading stuff days in advance so that it's ready whenever the key does come out on the day of launch, and you can dive in at the very beginning of the availability cycle, which has been traditionally good until now. So, for those that don't know, the Epic Games Store has been very much so in the news in the past few months in a negative kind of way. A ton of people are not big fans of the Epic Games Store. As for me, I've never truly minded it, but as more and more time goes on, it's beginning to become kind of ridiculous that some of these basic functionalities are still missing from the Epic Games Store. Preloading has been around for a very long time on consoles as well as on PC. It is high time that that should be included in base functionality. On top of that, the store itself has many more features that are still yet to be added that really are just improving quality of life. And of course, there is an entire timeline showing off what's coming for the Epic Games Store, showing off what is planned, and you can definitely take a look at that. It's widely available online. But at the same time, come on, guys. I mean, really, it is Epic we are talking about here. I understand that you are busy with Booga and the Fortnite championships and whatnot, but come on, if you are going to be launching a platform, it has to be ready for these big profile games that you paid handsomely to actually get on your platform on day one, mind you. It doesn't matter how much you paid for it if people can't play it on day one and they have to wait for a couple of days until it stops downloading or finishes downloading. That makes you look really, really bad. So that's something that should be fixed ASAP, but unfortunately it won't be fixed in time for Borderlands 3, which launches exactly 1 month from the time of this podcast recording. But the Epic Games Store, still a work in progress. I have faith that it's going to be doing some pretty impressive stuff in the PC space, but I suppose we will have to wait and see exactly what that looks like as time goes on and as the console and, of course, the platform itself evolves. There is no console, just a platform. But you know what could be coming out on the Epic Games Store? Quantic Dream games, because they won't be exclusive to any platform anymore, according to David Cage. Quantic Dream wants to reach players around the world, and if I remember correctly, Quantic Dream games are actually coming out and have come out on the Epic Games Store. I believe Detroit Become Human and Heavy Rain, if I remember correctly, are also going to be available there now. Quantic Dream's founder David Cage revealed that the studio plans to shift away from making games exclusive to PlayStation and bring its games to multiple platforms in the future. In a recent interview with DualShockers, Cage said that Quantic Dream has wanted to make the change since around 2 years before the release of Detroit, and that the studio wants to publish its games on different platforms to reach players all around the world. Cage made it clear that the studio no longer plans to make its games exclusive to any platform going forward. Quote, Quantic Dream, Quantic, ooh, that's a remix. Quantic Dream is not exclusive to any platform anymore, Cage stated. So yes, unless there are some specific exclusivity deals on a title-by-title basis, all our games will be released on all platforms at launch. Quantic Dream recently released Detroit Become Human, Heavy Rain, and Beyond Two Souls on PC via the Epic Games Store, which was seemingly the first sign of the studio's intentions to move away from PlayStation exclusivity. Cage said the studio spent a year optimizing the games for PC and explained that Quantic faced its fair share of challenges since the original releases were specifically designed with the PlayStation consoles in mind. When we developed the PlayStation versions, all the code was native for PlayStation, optimized to the bone to run as best as possible on that platform, Cage explained. All these advantages we had on PlayStation became challenges importing the game to PC. Even though Quantic is parting ways with PlayStation, Cage said that they still maintain a good relationship with Sony. We always had a great relationship with Sony PlayStation. They have always been very supportive of my work, and we have always been very loyal to them in return, Cage said. So we had a very open talk about all this, and they allowed us to release our catalog of titles on PC. With new platforms on the horizon like the upcoming Xbox Project Scarlet and Google Stadia, it looks like a larger audience will be able to experience Quantic Dream's games in the future, which is always going to be a pretty big benefit in my mind, if I did have to say so myself. Of course, for those that have not played games like Detroit Become Human, Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, these are very cinematic experiences. These are very narrative-driven experiences that are second to none. Truly some impressive stuff. Currently, I am actually playing through Detroit Become Human because it was given away as part of PlayStation Plus's offerings for July of 2019, and I must say I am very impressed with what I am seeing so far. But I'm a big fan of multi-platform releases. I really loathe console exclusivity, especially in 2019, where you do have giant movements for cross-play and cross-save and a general, I suppose, cooperation that we haven't really seen before in the gaming industry. There is no reason to have any kind of exclusivity in this current state. Now, I will say, this is what gives consoles their specific value instead of giving every console the same amount of value. As we see with this console generation, PlayStation has dominated because of the games that have been released exclusively on PlayStation. They are known as the place-to-play narrative-driven experiences, and I think that's not going anywhere anytime soon. But to see Quantic Dream actually taking the leap and going out onto multiple platforms is something that I think is fantastic and will definitely, in a big way, benefit their specific games going forward because, man, those are some incredible experiences, and I will be interested to see how they optimize games to fit well on every specific platform. And they mention this here in the article, but whenever you are creating a game specifically on PlayStation, take, for instance, the newest God of War that came out in 2018. That game is not built for PC. It's not built for Xbox. That game is to the bone, as this article says, built from the ground up for running on a PlayStation 4 and, of course, on the PlayStation 4 Pro. And with that console exclusivity, you can really tailor that experience to where it does milk the machine for all it is worth and creates a fantastic experience for the gamers. But of course, with the right level of optimization, anything is possible. We see it with games that are ported to mobile, that are also running out on the PC and the PS4 and the Xbox One. You can do a lot of stuff when it comes to scaling the quality of the game, but at what cost? That's the big question here. But if you did want to pick up the newest Quantic Dream games as they roll out, which again, none have been announced as of yet, you could pick them up on PS4, Xbox One, PC, and presumably Nintendo Switch, as well as Google Stadia if they are meant to be believed and taken at their word, of course at face value. But hey, we'll see what happens. However, moving on, Xbox may also allow its new studios to create multi-platform games. Xbox first-party studios boss Matt Booty, one of the best names in gaming, says the company is willing to consider putting future games on rival platforms on a per-franchise basis. Game Informer asked Booty if he would allow newly acquired studios like Double Fine, Obsidian, and Ninja Theory to keep creating multi-platform games, to which he replied, "Yeah, I think we would." I think that the question is less binary about should it be on Switch, should it be on PlayStation, and more does it make sense for the franchise. In other words, it's a kind of game where it would benefit from the network effect of being on a bunch of different platforms, or is it a game where we can best support it by putting resources and making sure that our platforms, things like xCloud and Game Pass and Xbox Live, are really leaning in to support the game. Booty said it made sense, for example, to expand Minecraft onto new platforms after the company acquired Mojang, considering it already had players on non-Xbox platforms. Franchises such as Forza, Halo, and Sea of Thieves, he explained, are designed from the outset to stay exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem. However, Obsidian's The Outer Worlds is looking to be one of those franchises moving forward, and that's where the story ends today. But this is, again, a fantastic move from Microsoft. To be able to have your games on a variety of platforms is never going to hinder the game, in my opinion. Now, as this article does point out, and as Matt Booty does admit, there are certain games and certain franchises that are built from the ground up for exclusivity, and they are built for a specific ecosystem, and that's a different kind of experience. That's something that I totally understand, and that can make a really, really life-changing experience, a ground-shaking experience for those that do want to check out these platform exclusive games. But to open the floodgates up for people like Double Fine to come in and have funding, but also release their games on multiple platforms is something that I think is very, I suppose, industry conscious, because you really have to understand that it's not so much a team-based approach going forward, it's who is the most consumer friendly and who is making the best moves that benefit the gamers themselves instead of the, I suppose, pockets and wallets of those behind the scenes. Of course, ironically, those tend to work hand in hand. When people are happy, they spend more money in the game, which is what we see in today's day and age. But again, that's a topic for another day. To be able to see stuff from big studios like Obsidian, of course, coming out on the PS4 still after the acquisition from the guys over there at the Microsoft team, man, that is very exciting to me, and I cannot wait, in my opinion, to dive into The Outer Worlds, one of the best looking games of the year by far, and it makes me very, very excited. But we will see what happens with Xbox going forward. They are poised to make a big splash going into the next generation, and man, am I excited to see what their new console brings to the table. Rumor has it, it is still underpowered as compared to the PlayStation 5, but again, we have no confirmation as to whether or not that is actually going to be the final verdict. It very well could be, but it really does come down to the games. Really does come down to the games. But speaking of games, the Nintendo Switch could be getting SNES games if a brand new SNES-style controller patent is to be read into a little bit too much. A Switch gamepad straight out of 1992 has been spotted on the FCC's wireless hardware filing site. Reset-era user Link83 quietly posted a link to a familiar-looking FCC filing. An FCC ID is an online signature of any wireless product registered with the United States Federal Communications Commission. The filing shows an outline of the back of an SNES pad, The telltale HAC042 imprint denotes it as a piece of Switch hardware with a few changes. And of course, there is the controller itself. I think we can all pretty much agree that is, without a doubt, a Nintendo Switch version of the SNES controller. It's flaunting Bluetooth/wireless connectivity for one. No more kneeling right next to the telly. Link83 also speculates at some anomalous designs along the top edge. New shoulder buttons or Switch connection rail? We will let you decide. Ooh. This could also herald the arrival of SNES games on Nintendo Online. Subscribers already get free NES games every month through the service, and there is an equally retro Switch pad to play them on. The service's first year will soon wrap up. Would some Super Nintendo classics convince you to sign up for another 12 months of Nintendo Switch Online? Now, I will say, if you read into this, you could say they are going to be bringing SNES games to Nintendo Switch Online, and that very well could happen. I'm not saying that's not the case here. What I am saying is that it's more likely this is going to be something that is just offered as a way to play games on the Nintendo Switch in 2019 and beyond, because it quite frankly makes sense. People love the SNES gamepad. Of course, people love every controller to some degree. Of course, you have people still using the GameCube gamepad to play stuff like Super Smash Bros. And even platformers because of third-party and also first-party hardware that allows it to be possible. But I will be the first one to admit that, man, I am not sure who this is catering to, but I know there is someone out there that is going to be a big fan of the wireless SNES-style controller heading to the Nintendo Switch. Again, this is just a patent filing, so no official release date, no official confirmation as of yet. But once a patent has been filed, I mean, hey, you're halfway there. Whoa, you're living on a prayer, in the words of Bon Jovi. Or should I say, you're living on a player? I tried, man. I tried to make it into a joke, but it just didn't land. It was really, really bad. It was really, really bad. But you could be playing Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville with an SNES gamepad. It's highly unlikely, but I suppose in 2019 anything's possible. But the new trailer has leaked. Now, I will say, as I said at the beginning of the show, there is no trailer in today's podcast because, quite frankly, it's been ripped down. I could show you, but guess what? I don't like lawsuits in my email account. So we're going to be avoiding that like the plague. I will say, look good. very minimal gameplay, but still look good. Electronic Arts is making Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville. I know this, the author says, because I saw a trailer for it on the internet, but that trailer wasn't part of any planned reveal or official EA YouTube account. Instead, it was the industry's latest major leak. We have known that EA has spent a few years working on what was previously known as Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 3. The publisher spun off Garden Warfare from its popular tower defense games in 2014 and last launched Garden Warfare 2 in 2016. The company continued to support that release with new content into last year. Now, the series is shifting brands, at least according to the leaked trailer. That means nothing you see in the video is final or confirmed, but I have validated that it is real and it was not an intentional leak. That last part is pretty obvious when you see the trailer. It features a lot of identifying emblems that EA may use to sniff out the source, but all of that aside, the trailer is quite entertaining and it looks like Battle for Neighborville is ready to enter the world where Plants vs. Zombies brand has to compete with the likes of Fortnite. And of course, they go on to talk more about Plants vs. Zombies. It's a huge brand, still massive in 2019, because of its original rise to fame, in my opinion. Of course, Plants vs. Zombies really came to its own, I suppose, enormity whenever the iPod Touch launched, and it was one of the games that I remember as a kid playing for hours and hours on end. It was just one of the best mobile games out there, and then of course that spawned off multiple iterations of it, multiple new SKUs, multiple sequels, and then you got stuff like Garden Warfare 3, of course, a play on the Modern Warfare franchise that actually sounded like a joke. Then, lo and behold, turned out to be a pretty good game at the end of the day. So Battle for Neighborville looks to be continuing that trend. I will say there were a lot of cinematics, a lot of CGI, but again, what can you expect from a leaked trailer that has minimal gameplay? And of course, it's pretty much there to go ahead and hype you up. I would not be shocked to see this come around towards the end of August or September, at least an official reveal. I do believe we have Gamescom coming up in a couple of weeks, so I would say that's a pretty good place to go ahead and predict some kind of announcement, some kind of big reveal. But I suppose we will have to wait and see for the official word as to when we are going to be getting Battle for Neighborville, or if this is even a real game. It very well could be fake. I highly doubt it. But hey, you never know. However, Tim Willits is making some big moves. Former id Software studio head Tim Willits joins World War Z publisher as CCO. Tim Willits, former studio head at id Software, joined... I have a gnat flying in my face. Can you move? Thank you. Tim Willits, former studio head at id Software, joined Sabre Interactive this month as the Chief Creative Officer. And he says on Twitter, "I am excited to announce that on August the 1st, I became the Chief Creative Officer of Sabre Interactive. I will be leading the creative vision of our 5 studios around the world." Ooh, Willits spent 24 years at id Software and in an interview with Fortune described his departure as the end of a marriage. Part of the opportunity with Sabre Interactive's appeal was in returning to an indie studio environment. The agility of small teams and the opportunity to get stuff done quickly can't be overstated, Willits says. "I'm not saying anything bad about Bethesda. I love them, but smaller teams are exciting and fun. When someone has a good idea, we jump on it. If it doesn't work out, we change it quick." Sabre Interactive encompasses 5 studios and more than 500 employees, but despite those numbers, Willits insists it operates more closely to an indie studio than large companies like Bethesda or Activision. Willits also describes the draw of working on new genres. Sabre Interactive published NBA Playgrounds, and Willits is already talking to the team about other sports to extend the Playgrounds franchise too. "At my age, you've got to work with people you like," Willits says. "You've got to work on fun stuff. I don't have anything to prove. I've been successful. I've made good games. At the end of the day, I'm literally going to travel around the world to cool places to work with awesome teams and make video games. Why would I pass this up?" And that is the end of the quote, and man, what a good quote it was. So first off, congratulations to Tim Willits, because that's a fantastic job, it sounds like. And with somebody of his stature in the gaming industry and with somebody of his experience, this is a perfect fit. And I think that they're going to be elevating Sabre Interactive to a brand new level. And of course, the 5 studios they've got around the world are going to be incredibly benefited, incredibly lifted up, incredibly lucky to have Tim Willits on board, because man, what a mind. I mean, the dude basically drove id Software into the newest generation where we do have it as a mainstay, a staple in the gaming industry. And that's amazing to see and to be able to participate in and to see the work that he's done come to fruition. Oh my gosh, such a cool dude. But congratulations to Tim Willits, congratulations to Sabre Interactive, and congratulations to We go up whenever we make a 2 noise. The gamers around the world that are going to be able to take advantage of these amazing games that are inevitably going to be coming down the line. However, you know what you won't be looking forward to and you won't be playing down the line? The Minecraft Super Duper Graphics Pack, because it has been canceled for being too technically demanding. Oh no. The planned graphical update for Minecraft, the Super Duper Graphics Pack, has been canceled, says an announcement from Mojang. Originally announced during E3 2017, the Super Duper Pack has been in the works for a while, but it seems Mojang wasn't happy with how it performed across different devices. Citing the wide range of platforms Minecraft is available on, Mojang says Super Duper was an ambitious initiative that brought a new look to Minecraft, but unfortunately the pack proved too technically demanding to implement as planned. Although PC players have played Minecraft with high-resolution texture packs and custom shaders created by modders for years, these improvements understandably led to a dip in performance, that likely couldn't be mitigated on less powerful hardware. Despite canceling to work on the Super Duper Graphics Pack, Mojang says it is still looking into other ways for players to experience Minecraft with a new look. Though there is no new official word on a new shader pack on the horizon for Minecraft, you can of course find a list of PC gamers' best Minecraft shaders on PC if you did want a step in the right direction, a new mod to make your game really pop. But this is somewhat disappointing, shockingly. I normally don't care about this because I don't play Minecraft. I used to play it back in the day, and of course, it still has a small piece of my heart, as it does for many people that came of age between 2010 and 2016. But I think that going into it, to consider that they tried to bring the Super Duper Graphics Pack to every platform, that was a bit, I suppose, much, because you do have so many platforms that Minecraft is out on. Of course, I don't know if the Super Duper Graphics Pack was supposed to come out on the mobile version of the game, the Pocket Edition. I'm not sure if it's going to be coming to the Switch edition, which of course is the most recent edition of the game, and I really think that's probably where they ran into a wall, because whenever you have the Super Duper Graphics Pack running on stuff like an Xbox One X, running on stuff like a PS4 Pro, and running on stuff like a PC, you are good to go. That's not going to be a problem, because these can run pretty impressive textures, pretty impressive beefy games. But then you have stuff like the Nintendo Switch that isn't built to run stuff at incredibly high resolutions, isn't built to run stuff at incredibly high textures, and then of course mobile, where you have very old devices running Minecraft. That's where you kind of run into an issue, and so I understand why they're canceling this. To be honest with you, I don't think it's going to hurt anything in the long run, because Minecraft is in and of itself a game that is meant to not look good. It's not like there was some kind of fantastic looking game and they dumbed it down to begin with. Minecraft has always had that blocky, low-res texture love, and that's pretty much what people have fallen in love with. So it's not shocking to see it continuing in that way. But if you were looking for the Super Duper Graphics Pack to be coming soon, no luck, no dice, no siree, not coming your way. However, you know what is coming your way? World of Warcraft Classic, and you, yes, you can now reserve your World of Warcraft Classic character name. Ooh. Do you remember your old WoW character name? I do. It was Whip. Watch me nay-nay. Do you see what I did there? I only mention it because Blizzard has now opened World of Warcraft Classic name reservations, so if you want maximum nostalgia, that is, you want to play the MMO Classic with a character of the same name as your old character, you need to get stuck in it ASAP. To do this, you need an active subscription or game time on your WoW account, and you can then create up to 3 characters per WoW account in advance of the game's launch on Monday, the 26th of August. Blizzard is also using its forum to help connect ex-guild members together, guildmates, guild members, whatever you want to call them. I had to ask a friend what server we played on back in 2005, and someone who was in my guild has posted on the forum, which kind of took my breath away. Memories, dangerous, fond memories that can definitely pull you back into the depths of WoW addiction. But I will say, very cool to see. Of course, we talked about the Friend Finder last week, where you can pretty much team up with the people you played WoW with back in the day, which is a fantastic addition to the experience of WoW Classic. But to be able to reserve your original name is something that is amazing. Now, the big question here is, can you actually get it? That yet to be seen. Doubtful. Don't think we're going to be getting that lucky when it comes to a lot of situations. Of course, if you are a big streamer, your name probably already taken. Hate to be the one to break it to you, but I know Soda Poppin' did not get his, and of course, hey, sometimes that happens. At the end of the day, it all comes down to the game itself, but man, there is something about getting the username you want, and especially when it comes to getting a username that you had before, oh man, Ooh, that's a good time. That's a good time. And I say that as somebody who is holder of Samuel Adams on both Mixer and Twitch. It's a good time, let me tell you right now. But again, if you do want to dive into WoW Classic coming very soon, I believe August the 27th, if I remember correctly off the top of my head, you can dive in and check out what WoW was like back in the early aughts of yesteryear. But that pretty much rounds out today's episode of the Jampack Report, the inaugural episode on Mixer.com/Samuel Adams. And again, you should totally stop by and check out the show live. Again, it is hosted on Mixer.com/Samuel Adams, then taken down and put up on YouTube.com/Samuel Adams Media, as well as podcast services around the world if you did want the MP3 version of the show on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, whatever you might use for your podcast. You can probably find it over there. But until tomorrow, you guys have a fantastic rest of the day. I will talk to you soon, and peace.